Well, hello, it's Paul here. And anyway, I have gotten a box today. I have gotten a Birdies Raised Garden Bed, and I'm going to put it together. We have got, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the straight pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the curved pieces. I already like this one a whole lot better than the last one I assembled because you had a top and a bottom. This one here is all in one piece. It's really pretty simple. You're just going to basically put the screw head on the outside and the nut on the inside, and then you've got your different configurations you can do. I'm going to do the real long and skinny configuration. Matter of putting the screws in place and the nuts in place and getting it ready to go. So we've got one section pre-treated, pre-set up. Now there's this plastic on here. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the plastic off of this one. It actually comes off very easily. Let's flip it over. Let's put the other 2 screws in. You can do this in several different configurations. You can either have it so you have a piece right here and it's about 20 something inches deep, or you can add another straight piece and have it be much deeper. But I think I'm going to go for more shallow size because of the limited space that I have for this. Each one of these pieces is not so long that you can't reach around them. We're going to finally get to see just how big this is. I'm going to have to go around, once I get it assembled, I'm going to tighten all the screws and nuts. And when I do that, I'll flip it over, get the last screws on the bottom. The last piece right here. We'll come back and tighten it up, and then tomorrow, the 2 continents have joined together. Well, it's done. It probably took me about an hour to do, but it is very sturdy. All right, so we've got the Birdies Raised Bed that I assembled last night, and I've put it out here, and I've tried a couple of different options. I've got 2 of the Birdies Raised Garden Beds, and the plan is that I'm going to put one along here, one along here, and then put another one along there. But I'm going to use the garden beds to take place of this fence. Instead of having the fence, the garden bed will just be the fence. So I want to keep them so that there's maybe a couple of inches between them, but that's it. But I'm going to form like a little U pattern with the garden beds around there. The plan for the day is I'm going to level the raised garden bed out. I'm going to lay down hardware cloth. This is hardware cloth here that I took out of the when I put that one in. It's just basically a metal mesh, and that keeps rodents from digging in from the bottom and coming and eating your vegetables from below. I'll put probably a layer or 2 of cardboard down, buy 1 or 2 bundles, maybe even 3 bundles of firewood, put that on top, go gather some branches and some twigs, And then I'm just going to cut up yard waste, like from those plants over there, and cover that up. I'll go ahead and put this older garden soil in on the bottom down below, and then I'll slowly but surely, as time goes on, I'll buy the rest of the soil to fill it up. So I'm hoping to fill it up about halfway with just basically yard waste and wood and cardboard, and maybe a bag or two of leaves, and then put that in there, and then maybe just only have to have maybe a full large bag of peat moss and a few bags of soil and mushroom compost and different types of compost, and then give it a few months to get ready, to be ready for the summertime. And then I'll tackle this one here, and I'll do pretty much the same thing. Put the hardware cloth down. I can put grass clippings in too. I've saved up several bags of leaves, so I can use those and compost year round. So I'll have some leaves that I could put down in the bottom there, and also I have leaves that I can put in the compost bin. But essentially what's going to happen is these are going to turn into their own compost bins. And once I get a couple of these set up, I'll probably go somewhere and buy some worms and let them get started and getting going with it. One additional thing I will do is after I put the hardware cloth in, I will actually go ahead and run some tubing up here, at least up to the side here, and get this prepped for drip irrigation, and probably run a little piece of wire up if I want to put a light in there down the road. Whether or not I do it or not, I don't know, but I'll at least have the wire run inside here, so all I've got to do is just basically dig it up and make the connection. Anyway, let's get started. I'm cutting up these little pieces of soil and grass clippings and stuff like that. I can actually treat them like sod and just move them over into areas where I have mud. Sometimes it'll take and sometimes it won't. Okay, we've got it dug out, probably 4 inches on this side, and then slowly we don't really dig anything over here. But anyway, got it almost 100% level. Okay, so while I'm here, I grabbed myself a little bit of low voltage cabling. I grabbed myself a small length of sprinkler line that was basically already, this is the length, I didn't cut it or anything, so it's going to be pretty good length for that. And before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and make my cut here, at least for the sprinkler head. Going to install my T. When I make the next splice for this other one, I'll take some of the length of the pipe out. I've started to unroll the hardware cloth out, and I punctured a hole where I'm going to want my pipe to go through. So anyway, my pipe and my wire to go through, so that's ready to go. Run the hardware cloth, and I'll probably bend it a little bit to where it's supposed to sit down. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to lay a little bit of landscaping fabric out, and really honestly that's just going to keep the weeds from growing right up against the bed. So I've got the hardware cloth in, I've got the fabric weed killer down, and now I'm going to put the bed in place. Kind of tamp it in place. Well, where I'm at now is I've put the hardware cloth down, and then I put the weed fabric down. That's going to protect the weeds from growing right up against it. Put just a tiny bit of soil on at the edges. And what I'm going to do is start putting, I bought a couple of bundles of firewood. Let me pour a little water in here to kind of get the rotting started. Since it started, we'll just let it rot away inside here. I've put quite a bit. I actually got more soil in there and didn't get as much compaction as I actually expected to. So anyway, now as it rains and time goes on, this will probably settle down at least one, if not two ribs. So when it comes time to actually plant this year, I'll probably end up going in and I'll probably end up buying some more soil. And of course I'm going to buy some soil and compost and put it on top, you know, some new soil, and put some nutrients and stuff on top. And so anyway, but for right now, while I hold off on that, the other thing you probably saw me do is I took the kitchen scraps from inside and I put them down kind of in the middle of the layer of soil, so that stuff there can compost and provide nutrients to the soil. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a little bit of a layer of leaves on top, just to keep the soil from getting bleached by the sun. Look, it's done. I mean, I'm just going to put these leaves on top, and then once we start to plant things, I'll put another layer or two of soil on top. Drip irrigation here, ready to go. We'll just let it sit there, let all the components get together, and then in about 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, when it comes springtime to actually plant, I'll go out and buy some more raised garden bed soil. I'd probably guess 2 bags of garden soil, a thing of peat moss, and some vermiculite, and some mushroom compost, and some other little treatments to treat the soil. And you know, I'll do the same thing over there. I'll put some more soil in that bed over there. I've got some wood. I've got the rest of the parts from this raised garden bed that I can throw in the bottom. So I'll do exactly the same thing when I assemble the next one.